Welcome everybody to Late Night Dominion episode 4. Thanks for joining us tonight. Let's get on with it. Take it away, Roshi.
Welcome to Late Night Dominion with your hosts, Aegon the Ginger Technomade, Beetle the Bearded Gamer, Muscle-bound Blank Space, and myself, Orochi, Token Brid. Tonight's guest star is Arawulf, the musical settler in Exile. So if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, Arawulf.
Thank you. Glad to be here, guys. My name is Arawulf, or Mike Joseph, or however, whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner. I, of course, love the Wildstar community and love this show. It's really a privilege to be here with you guys. I run a fan site called wildstarfans.net and also host a podcast called the Planet Nexus Podcast with my brother Jay. And yeah, we're kind of all about just helping people to stay excited about this game. And yeah, that's about all I do. Other than that, I'm just a regular fan like all you out there.
Sounds great. Well, we're going to get into the show synopsis here. Over the next hour or so, probably a little bit beyond that, I believe. We're going to talk a little bit about gaming for the 1%. Nixus is going to hook you guys up with, I believe, a link. There was also talk about a stress test. When's it going to be? How to get prepared for it? And lastly, part of the reason we got our special guest this week is a little Dominion versus Exiles conversations. So we do want to get our plugs out there. Make sure to follow the Twitch channel. If you didn't see our stream on our new nice little project that Orochi put up, I believe it's stream.latenightdominion.com. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Everybody here's got a little @ so you can watch us retweet the same shit over and over. And like us on Facebook. Tonight, we have kind of an extra thing that came to us from Onres, which is Settler in Exile. He said, hey, love what you guys do. Got something extra. Didn't get a chance to give away this week. So, would you guys like to give away a Soldier Path Pin? I said, absolutely. You're going to get another link from Nixus. Did we get a picture, Aegon, or no?
I haven't got one yet.
If I could,
No, that's fine.
let me cut you off.
We got a link to
Can I
it.
cut you off real quick? So let me just.
Why?
Okay.
Your son, really? Beetle's got to have his 4 Loco, folks. Everybody, hold on now.
$2.49 at the local
do
shop. Don't worry about it.
is we got the we were looking to pump up $200, and we did. So there's going to be a giveaway for that, and that information will be put out later, probably tomorrow by Hiroshi. But for the Soldier Path Pin, we want everyone to know that even $1 counts. Any little bit helps. So anybody that from tonight, for the rest of tonight, that donates is going to be put in from the Wildstar community or anywhere else in for this Settler Path Pin that I believe just got linked. So if you got $1, you got 50 cents, whatever it is, we'd love to see it. It's for the kids. It's a great cause. So
Donate, the children.
let's start. Yeah, it's a really cool. I mean, we'll talk a little bit about it maybe towards the end, but it's a great.
Yeah, we got some more
charity.
exciting news for it. So
We will get to that. Let's see. Topic of the week. We got things. I believe the interview about movement. There's an interview, and of course there was the DevSpeak on movement. I'm sure everybody saw it. There was a lot of really cool things in there. People have been picking it apart. Nixus is going to start, putting those in chat for you guys to check out. So before we move on there, anybody else enjoy the special music that was brought to you from Carbine today?
Yeah,
that was a
leak
nice
was pretty
rickroll.
interesting.
Epic stuff. Life-changing.
So I mean, if you haven't seen it, I hope you have. But everybody basically got a big, wonderful rickroll from a developer. I mean, that's the first time I think that's ever happened. Like, oh, hey, check this out. You go right here, you do this thing. I was like, oh, this might be something cool. I was like, wow. Rickrolled by Carbine. Awesome. So let's see, what was the next?
Funny story, because I actually like that song, so joke's on them.
Hey, Wolf, does that give you some inspiration for a new Exile song? The same sort of theme?
Yeah, I have it half written. I was hoping to have it done for tonight, but I had to work, so we'll have to table that.
It's pretty complicated, so the 15-minute solo in the middle didn't really come out that great, or what?
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bing.
Have to work on it. There were a couple things. I'm not sure if Nixus got to them about the UI. If you guys want to throw some questions or thoughts about those, we can get to them at the end. There were a couple of what seemed to be like teasers. There were things that everyone was like, oh, they leaked it. Pretty sure they engineered those videos to be very specific in what they let out. So there was a lot of really cool things there. Wanted to know what you guys had thought, what you saw, what you want, us to talk about in the question section once we're done. So move on here. First big section we got. Well, unless you guys wanted to talk about double jump and sprint. Do you guys want to talk about that before we get into the big topic? Looks like Orochi does. No?
I think it looked pretty cool, the whole PvP, double jumping over walls and still getting killed. But, that's likely to be me, maybe.
There's always that sense of satisfaction with, like, sprinting up to a ledge and just, like, going for it, and you're just like, that felt great with that double dump. You just barely make it to that next edge, and it's just awesome. I don't know. I think it's a good feature, and it just
the cool environments that they
It's like
can
a whole
make.
step up from Guild Wars 2, isn't it? Just having getting your double jumps now.
Well, with the cool
This is our new
environments that they
NC
make
soft
with
thing.
sprint and double jump, I mean, it makes them really inventive environments.
Did anybody else freak out like I did when that class ability where they switched spots with the NPC? I wasn't sure if that was a spell slinger or which class that was.
It looked like a spell slinger.
Maybe somebody in chat knows exactly what, but that was sweet. I smiled big when I saw that movie.
They'll probably say, your Urgot alt or your Vengeful Spirit alt for Dota 2, swapping spots.
What about the disarm as well?
Yeah,
That's pretty nasty in
disarm?
PvP. That's a player skill.
It
Disarm them,
seems like
swap
probably
them.
a player and a
I've
monster
heard,
skill.
So you
What? Sorry. What did you say again about
There'd probably be a player and a monster skill.
Yeah. No, to me, when I was thinking about it, being able to be disarmed, running, normally in an arena, you have line of sight. Everybody's humping a pillar. Well, if you have the resource to be able to sprint, Beetle, you're such a tool, and double jump.
My screen's coming undone, sorry. Second monitor.
And somebody else doesn't, that's another layer. Because normally it's just like, oh, I'm hiding, I'm out of line of sight. No. Now it's, does that guy have the ability to run and catch me? That's a totally new layer to PvP that I don't think I've seen before. That's, instead of just hiding behind a wall, oh no, he can jump over it, I can't. I know he used it to catch up to me, so now I can get away from him. That adds another layer, which I think is friggin' awesome. Thoughts?
I can add a whole role of, tackling people, boosting up your sprint so you can get there fast and then stun somebody for the rest of your little group to gank them.
Well, I'm trying to think. There's gap closers and things like that you have as part of your, in MMOs as part of your class. But everybody having that means that it's that next layer. Oh, he has this skill. He can close. He can do this. I can get there. I can do that. But everybody has the ability to run fast in or possibly jump away.
It's gonna make using those gap closers a lot more strategic.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
So, double jump, sprint, it's going to be really interesting, especially for PvP. There it is. There's the first thumb of the night. Have a drink. So, let's talk a little bit about how to prepare for a beta stress test event. First thing that I want to throw out there is don't log in with expectations. You want to try to come with the attitude that you're helping the game developers gain insight on where bottlenecks happen, what breaks, and allow them time to fix things. You guys experienced that before, I'm sure, so go ahead and talk about that a little bit.
It's going to be broken. I was in the Defiance beta when I was doing the really sort of semi-close stuff, and that was just broken when you logged in. It's going to be a broken game. They're not there doing it to give you a chance to demo it. It's going to do some hard work. That will come later.
don't expect to try to hit like level 15, 20. What did they say that it was? Just don't expect to just boost through levels and stuff, because there's going to be server disconnects. There's going to be probably some heavy lag and stuff like that. So
it's a stress test. You probably more than half of people are going to be lucky to even get their characters done before they get dropped off.
Yeah. Yep.
Right, and I think one of the things that the reason we even have to talk about a topic like this is because there are so many games out there that use these stress tests and beta tests as a way to drum up hype and to get people to try out their game for free. And Carbine is not doing that. They're actually testing the game. They genuinely are using it for what it's meant for. And I think that's why it's good that we're talking about this, because you're still going to see it. You're going to see people on Twitter and all these other places that are going to be crying rivers of sadness because I can't log in, or there's no login queue. It just tells me to try again, or I fell through the world. And, it's going to happen. But I think the more people that are aware that this is an actual test, and they couldn't have made it any more clearly, it's going to break. It's not going to work right. You're not testing the game here. We're testing equipment. There's a big difference.
Yeah. It's always my favorite when the difference, what you just said, where it's like, come try our game, and then people get real upset. They're like, oh, man, I was in World vs. World, and then if things went down and my friends couldn't queue, and this is bullcrap. They're like, no, we want you guys to understand going in, this is not for you. This is for us. We want to pack as many people. I think they use clown cars. We want to put as many clowns in the car until the car explodes and then fix it, A couple different other points I had here. Be aware things are going to break, so be prepared mentally for this to happen. Walk away, do stuff. Don't go in expecting a hype machine where you're supposed to play it and tell your friends how cool it is. This is a real stress test. Servers are going to suck. You're going to have lag everywhere. Everyone's going to be connecting. You think you smashed your F5 button trying to get, an invite. You're probably going to be connecting over and over and over again. More than likely, things are not going to be playable. And it will not be a good example of gameplay. Don't walk away with like, oh, this game is broken. They're never going to be ready this year. So people will do it. Try not to be one of those people, because what happens is all of the negative information gets out there that is not on topic. It's not what's the word I'm looking for, Beetle?
It's you just put me on the spot and I'm panicking.
This is why it's awesome. This is live. What I'm saying is
it's gonna lag for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
If you go in and you're expecting that it's going to be something and start talking about how it didn't meet your expectations, that's what you don't want to go in with that sort of a mindset. That's why we're doing this now. We want you to go in understanding it's going to break. It's not a representation of where the game is. It's really important. So when you walk away, you understand that your role as a tester was to get in, be a number, and help them do stuff. That's it. You're not supposed to walk away and have some great opinion of, oh, wow, man, this was – no. Your job is to get in the car, see where it goes, wait for it to explode. Lastly, remember, don't stream, record, or leak what you see and hear from the stress tests unless Carbine Studios makes an announcement otherwise. If it's in doubt, don't do it. We're not fans of people that break NDAs. We don't agree with it. We don't go to places and read about any of the stuff that comes out unless it's official. So if they say you can't do it, please don't do it. Do you guys have anything else for stress tests before we move on?
I mean, one thing's worth mentioning, sometimes these builds are designed to break as well. It's not mostly their latest build, it's maybe areas they particularly want to destroy.
And expect probably half the day you'll probably be patching over and over again as they try and fix and manipulate and, set up things as they want to test.
Make sure you save your bandwidth.
I enjoy the ones I remember reading on the forums on the open betas for Guild Wars, where people would be like loading, downloading to like 95%, and then it would break. They'd have to do it all over again. They spent the first couple days, they were bad. These people get upset. It's like, listen, what happened?
one of my favorite sayings, I think it was Age of Conan, like early, it might have been beta, but it might have been early launch. And it was like, if your mini-map lost all color, and the best saying that came from was, if your mini-map goes gray, call it a day. And that was the best, like, mini-map goes gray, call it a day, bro, you're done. Like, that was the best thing to me.
Yeah, so
Now,
again,
when they first put that post out, did anyone else immediately try to like call in to figure out what your excuse was going to be this? Because at first we thought it was going to be this weekend. You know, if you caught it right when it came out, the original post did say it was going to be this weekend. I was at work when it came out, and so I was already literally on my way to my boss's office trying to figure out how I was going to have to get out of work Saturday. And thankfully they corrected it right away and got the word out. And, you know, they were upfront about it. Yeah, we originally said this. We don't know yet. Relax. And I was like, oh, because I'd literally almost freed up my whole weekend just to get in there and try to log in, even if I wasn't able to, because they did say that people who made a good faith attempt to log in were going to be guaranteed spots in future beta tests. That line was in there. And I don't know what that means, or if that means you're bumped higher in the queue. I have no idea what that means, but, you know, I want to be one of those people just bashing my login button while I'm on Twitter or watching all you guys do whatever you're doing. You know, I want to be right there.
Yeah, that's why
I think a lot
that's
of
why
people do
remote
that.
desktop is OP. Remote desktop. If you work with computers, you're just like, remote desktop, and yeah.
And signed in. Oh, yeah. So let's hope that we hear a little bit more information about that, and good luck, and make sure that you know you're the clown in the car. Going to move on topics here. Going to start discussing why a developer setting the bar for the 1% mark is good, in our opinion. So, first bullet point I have here is it creates a competitive environment for those who wish to engage in it. The note is, even if you're casual, you aspire to be like that guy wearing full epic gear. For me personally, when I first started playing World of Warcraft, which is my go-to MMO, I remember looking at some of the other guys and being like, wow, where'd you get that? That looks kind of cool. You know, like that's pretty neat, especially the PvP guys. I was like, whoa, that's awesome. So, even though at the time I was just still learning the game, super casual, but you want to aspire to that. That's our first talking point. You guys have any experiences like that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can go first on this one here. Like what you said, seeing someone in that full epic gear and aspiring to be that person. Back when I was younger and playing, you know, MMOs where I wasn't as hardcore, I wasn't trying to get these games right away, and I just kind of picked them up when they went on these clearance racks at GameStop or Best Buy or wherever it was. And you log into that game, you go in the first town, there's some dude just like riding past you on like a pterodactyl or some shit, and you're just like, "Bang!" And you're just like, well, I want to get a pterodactyl. Where do you get a pterodactyl? And it's just, and from that point, you're just like, you know, pterodactyl mindset. You're just trying to get that thing. It's just like that 1% of content is just always so cool, and Carbine has said it's going to be so awesome, and it's going to be so creative, and it's going to be so individual that just like, I want that pterodactyl. Pterodactyls. Hiroshi, go ahead.
Yeah, I had it. I used to play Eve. Start off with little tiny ships, and you see your friends in your corporation with the big battleships, and you're like, I want that, you know, and you work your way up, and then you lose it. So it just gives you that real sense of pride that, hey, you know, I spend like 100 million credits on this ship, 100 million ISK, and it does give you that urge to go on and get in towards the end game and try and become a better player by aiming for bigger goals.
There you go. Arawulf?
Yeah.
You guys have any experiences like that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like Orochi, it was really big in Eve. You know, I was a member of Band of Brothers, and you know, watching the big crap flying around and the things we got to do with them. We just wanted to aspire to.
Wasn't Bob?
Yes, I was Bob. Until we got metagamed by Goonswarm. But,
So you got torn up by Goonswarm. Goonswarm was just like,
no, actually,
done with that shit.
No, actually, Goonswarm paid some guy in our alliance to disband the alliance. And apparently, at that point in Eve, anybody in the alliance on the alliance council could disband. One person, you didn't need like an electoral vote or anything. One person could disband an entire alliance.
That's why Eve is awesome. And it's just like right over my head, everything about it. It's just like, dude, you got metagame the F out, man.
Yeah, pretty much. And at that point, Bob was gone. There was no recovering from that. So
it's like the banks where people sell all the cash for real money to pay off their mortgage. Yeah, that sort of stuff gets scary in Eve.
Oh yeah.
All right, Arawulf, what do you got to say about the 1%? How do you feel?
Well, here's what happened. So I was probably 8 months after launch of World of Warcraft, and I was in Elwyn Forest trying to kill Hogger. Any of you who played World of Warcraft?
Wait, drinking for a Hogger reference for sure. Okay.
Absolutely, and
hell yeah.
and I couldn't do it. I was a paladin, and at the time we had one attack move, Judgment. That's all we had. The rest was just procs, and I couldn't kill this thing, and so I just went in chat. I need help killing Hogger, and like an angel out of the heavens, this glowing whatever it was just flew up on this, and this was before flying mount, but to me this was flying. They came speeding up on this mount in this dazzling gear and just looked at Hogger. Didn't even swing a weapon. Just looked at Hogger, and Hogger just fell over dead. And at that moment, I realized what my destiny would needed to be in MMO gaming is I wanted to rescue the unfortunate souls fighting the Hoggers of the world. That was going to be me, and so that's really what my initial motivation was. Is I want to help other people who can't do content. I want to be strong enough to go out there and help them.
You just wanted to be the guy that the bards sang of in the high school locker bank. You know, like coming in between classes in high school, just like, dude, I was taking out Hogger. Guy swooping. No, easy stuff. Like the stories that were told by the bards.
But there really is something about everybody has their reasons, whether it's the way it looks, the way it makes you feel, being able to help other people, or that's just that draw. And so many games, I feel, are like, oh, we just want to make a buck, or we just want to do whatever. They don't realize that sort of a system keeps the hardcore people around, excuse me, who are willing to put hours and hours and hours and run the fan sites and do the theory crafting and all that sort of stuff, keeps them happy. They're the ones who are going to help you progress the game along. And those that are casual who play an hour every couple of days still have those people to hang out with and do stuff with. So I think it's a great thing. The next bullet point we got is, over time, you grow into a higher percentage category. If the game content pushes ahead at a consistent pace, those who cannot eventually can do. Usually this is because it's the stats on gear, but, you know, for example, when the hardcore guilds are in, you know, Raid 3, you're now able to get and fully clear with your buddies who just drink and mess around and you know, barely can remember what you raided. You're able to clear most of Raid 1. And because of that, those, again, you're catering to everybody. Eventually, you get to see that content. A game that has nowhere to go, and I'm going to be careful not to rant too much on this, is doomed to be left in the dust. If you hit max level, and you're like, I'm done. I'm bored. There's nothing to do. I get nothing from this, whether it's the I can help people, whether it's the I'm making achievements, I've got cool stuff. If you get to that end game, the Elder game, and there's absolutely nothing keeping you there, unless you just enjoy getting on to play, and I believe the other group of people are mostly role players who enjoy the ambiance and the environments. Other than that, people are like, you know what, I'm done. And when that happens, there's always these big exodus. You know, somebody posts in the forums, you know, thank you for a great time. It's a lot of fun. However, we don't see eye to eye with where things are, and goodbye. And one guild goes, and then another guilds go, and then a bunch of organizations leave, and then everybody turns into a community guild, and you just hang out and hope people show up. So, again,
That was my thing, man. Like, sorry to cut you off, dude. But, like, if you get to the end of a game and like I believe someone, the Reaver Raziel, he said cough Defiance. And when I was in the open beta and some other stuff for Defiance way back in the day, when people were like, dude, how's that game? I was like, oh, that trailer with that, what's this band, Immortal Dragon song? Like, that song was awesome, but the game has no end game. Like, I literally, like, drove my little four-wheeler to, like, the robot end boss. I'm like, oh, this is what you do at the end? If there's something at the end of the game that just, like, you know, you get, like Blank said, get to max level, and then the next day I get home from work and I'm like, I don't even feel like logging in, because there's nothing in my mind that's like, I need to progress in a raid. I need to get this gear. I would love to be playing PvP and progressing in a certain way. If there's nothing that, when I sit down at this chair and makes me want to click that button, we got a real problem.
And that something has to be hard. It has to be challenging. And, you know, like that line from The Incredibles, you know, if everybody's super, then nobody is. And there has to be a challenge to it. And what I love what Gaffney said here, in fact, he posted on the Wildstar Central forums, he said, the 1%, the people that do that content and are there week after week after week progressing, they're very vocal, and they set the tone for the rest of the community. They'll say, hey, this is challenging stuff, this is good stuff, and that's what's going to help motivate the other people to work their way up through the content. But if they get there, and like what Blank Space said, if guilds are starting to go, you know what, this is boring, this isn't worth investing in, we don't feel like we're progressing, we don't feel like this is challenging, and they start to drop off and guilds start to explode, that's not just about the 1%. It's not 1% of the players that are going to take off. It's a lot more than that.
Yep. Absolutely. One of the, Roche?
Yeah, no, I was just going to echo that. You know, it's the whole thing, some games out in Asia, because I was living out in Hong Kong, if they don't have the content coming out and the progression of the difficulty fast enough, they just go elsewhere. You know, and in certain parts of the world, that happens quicker than elsewhere. You know, and if the game's going to stay as an international appeal, then they need to keep that content coming and keep the difficulty up. And shift stuff down, he said, to other people, because, yeah, you're going to get better, you're going to understand your character, how things work, find out better combos, you're going to watch videos of people playing the game, and everyone's going to improve, and everyone will see their content in the end, if they want to. You know, but the game doesn't have to be tailored for everyone to enjoy it. It has to be tailored so there's something for everyone to enjoy, but not doing the whole thing.
And that's gets me to the next point that I wrote. This one I kind of wrote myself. It's what I like to call like the millionaire status. You know, in real life, I could work really hard, but I'm not going to instantly go get $1 million. In MMOs, you're able to find what makes you feel like a millionaire and try to achieve it. And for some people, you're able to, whether it's immediately because you're in that progression guild that's seeing the content right then and there. You have the skills, you have the abilities, you've got the connection to computer, you know, you've got the time. Or like I said, you know, a couple months down the road, 9 months down the road, when you're getting in, you're still going to see that content. You're still going to feel like a millionaire, just at a different time. So that is a nice little segue onto do we think casual gameplay is being demeaned with this viewpoint? I put down absolutely not. Wildstar has plenty of content for you to pick what you want to do and play with it with whoever you want to on your terms. For those who want a real challenge, it's going to be there. And one of the things that I put is, you know, being casual for me is what led me into raiding hardcore. Once I got the skills and I met a couple people that helped me out, told me where I needed to go. I started networking that who thought I'd make friends in an MMO, you know? I just walk around and do stuff on myself and see if anybody needed a dwarf priest to do Onyxia, because that's the only thing I was good for, you know? That branched off into this whole new game style play for me. So I definitely don't think that casual gameplay is being demeaned. They're being just as supported, and there's tons of different things in the game for you to do. If you just want to show up, you know, a couple times, you know, a week and play, you can. You can still get your own feeling. What do you guys have to say about casual play?
It's not. We're talking 150 to 200 hours of gameplay to cap the average person's playing an hour, 5 hours a week, Monday to Friday, 1 hour a night, that's a long time to get for that content. Before they get to endgame, and then there's the whole venture system. As long as they keep providing that content for people to do, and it's still challenging, on say like Rift, when they brought out their little 1-man, 2-man dungeons, where you could walk in at cap and just do it with no troubles at all, I think that's when they'd have problems. I think the amount of content they've got, no, they're not going to win casual players at all. I think this game coaches more to them than any others at launch I've seen so far.
Yeah, I really have, as a whole, I have no problem with casual players at all. I mean, hang on one sec. That's a little forward-looking for you guys, sorry. God, this stuff. But casual players make up the majority of the player base. They fill that auction house with the stuff that you're flipping. They are out there when you need a hand on whatever random boss you're playing on an alt. It's like, you can't take, an offensive or an aggressive stance against casual, filthy casual. You play the game way more than that dude does, or gal, sorry, and I just feel they're a part of the game. I mean, that's just how it is. There's bad people in Call of Duty. There's bad people in StarCraft 2. There's bad people in LoL. I mean, you run into people who don't play the game as much as you, and they're just a part of the game, and they help run the game. It's an ecosystem.
I wouldn't call them bad. I'd say I'd call them less experienced.
See, that's
I wouldn't even call
the elitist in me coming out. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't even call them less experienced. They just don't. Wouldn't even call them less experienced. I mean, they just might not have the same time that a hardcore player does. I mean, the 1%ers, give that content for the casuals, which actually helps the 1%ers in the end. We don't go back to farming the 1,000 copper we need anymore because we can wait for some casual to put up on the market and buy it from them.
And that is the point I want to drive through. Is right there. That player may find farming to be something they enjoy. And that's their millionaire status. When you buy their, bunch of copper, they're like, oh, man, I just made a huge score. To me, I'm like, man, I don't have to go farm that. Phew. That dude's like, man, I just made, 2 gold off of that. Again, everybody wins. So, did you have anything, Arawulf?
Well, I think we all, obviously we're here long before anybody's played the game. We're watching a live stream of guys talking about the game. So obviously we're probably going to be a little more slanted toward a more, committed, hardcore. Those terms, in fact, I use those 2 terms in an article only because there aren't better terms to use. But a hardcore, what is it? Is it attitude? Is it time? Is it skill? What is casual? Is it commitment? Is it time? I don't know, and those are great points that could be debated elsewhere. But ultimately, to me, in fact, that's why I named the last podcast A Game for the 100%, because it seems like every time Jeremy Gaffney talks about, or anybody at Carbine talks about hardcore rating, people suddenly want to start labeling it a game for only raiders. And they forget that they're only featuring one aspect of the game. There's so much else to this game. I mean, no one's going to tell me that somebody who doesn't have the most epic player house in the game isn't hardcore. Because to me, I can see people going completely hardcore over designing just an epic house. What they were describing, in fact, I think I can't remember where it was. They were talking about having like a working Ferris wheel in their player house, and I mean all kinds of crazy stuff. So I think you can go hardcore over a lot of different things. But I think when it comes to the 1%, he's specifically talking about it's a game that raiders can trust, that can invest in. So I think ultimately, being the old school player that Jeremy is, he even falls into that, where he wants to call the raiders the hardcore and the rest kind of the casual. But I think it's going to be bigger than that.
We'll do this real quick. The casual hardcore. I've always looked at it as how you approach. If something suddenly changed in my life and I had my daughter every day, I would then become a casual game player because I would approach the game casually. That's how I've always distinguished it. I don't know how you guys do it, but it's not a derogatory term. It's always just like, I'm approaching it hardcore, and that may mean time investment, that may mean a bunch of different things. But when it comes to how I describe casual, just in my approach, do you guys have different views, or is that pretty much the same for you guys too?
I think mine's slightly different.
For me.
Oh, go ahead, Rush.
I think, to me, hardcore is somebody who goes out and learns the game You know, someone can play an hour a night and be hardcore in my eyes. It could be like a hardcore PvP because they've learned the game and know how to play it. You know, and then someone could play 5 hours a day just to have fun and chill out and not really do much. I have friends like that. They look at every single rock, as my friend would say, you know, and they're casual. You know, they're having fun, taking their time and doing stuff. So I don't think it's a time commitment. I think it's a bit of an attitude of you want to learn everything possible about this game, about your class, your play style, how you're going to build your house, whatever it is. To me, that's hardcore. Casual is just taking your time, enjoying it, you know, not worrying about where it goes.
An efficient player will be able to do those things in a relatively short period of time. You know, there are people that work 40, 50 hours, but are effective in hardcore gaming because they do exactly what you said. They learn their class, they learn their stuff, they do their homework, and when they play, they're efficient with their gameplay. But I like what you just said there, because I think I would probably agree with your point that the hardcore is somebody who they study, they learn it, they're committed to it, and they're effective.
I think my definition of hardcore is a little different, I guess. It's a combination of the skill, but for me it's a combination of skill plus the time invested. Honestly, like, you can be the best player if you play an hour or 2 hours a night, but it really, like, my girlfriend isn't out here with me right now. I had to move because of a job. If she came out here and she's sitting, at the TV and it's just like, you're at your computer every night, why don't you hang out with me? Then I'm not putting as much time in as I can, and I don't consider myself as hardcore. I feel, along with player skill, time invested is a big thing. You can play a ton and be terrible at the game, but if you're playing a ton and you're intaking all that knowledge, you're like, oh, a stalker skill is plus 20 my, power rating. It's like, bleh. I think it has to do combination of both.
Good to know, good to know. All right, last little bit that we have to talk about before we hit into the questions tonight is our Dominions versus Exiles. I wish we had some cool music. We'll just pretend. So, it's going to be a little roundtable discussion. Have another drink here for Loco, buddy. Oh, this drink tonight is brought to you by Kat from the IRC, who said I should try, I don't even remember now.
Jack and cream soda. Jack and cream soda. I got you. Jack and cream soda.
Right. Again, so we're going to get into our discussion now. Shut your mouth. What made you choose your side? So I know Hiroshi's going to be a jerk. I know what he's going to say. So what I'm going to say is,
I hope he says what you think he's going to say.
For once, it was actually the lore before the graphics. I thought it was really, really cool about the taking over the whole galaxy. It just blew my mind. Really liked it. Go ahead, Hiroshi.
Frank told me I had to play Dominion. No. I like the accent. I think I have an accent to fit the Dominion side. I like the slant of... It's that grey area. The Dominion aren't the bad guys, aren't the good guys. It's that sort of cool, interesting, greyness to them. That they're trying to do what they've been told by the Ancients. If you watch every single sci-fi program, say Stargate, for example, the Ancients were the good guys. They came along and said, hey, humans, you like us? Help everybody else out. So, Dominion are just doing that. Maybe they've gone a little bit over the line occasionally and created some space zombies and such, but, and Blank told me to.
Yeah.
That's what we were looking for. Blank told him to. We're just going to go, you want to go bullet point by bullet point round table? What made you choose your side?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. What made me choose my side? Exile or Dominion? I think... for me, I think it was the Makari lore. For the Dominion, it was like they've been left here just kind of like, we're gonna kind of just walk around and do what we want to do, kind of thing. And I don't know, I really kind of globbed onto the Makari lore, and I think that's what I'll enjoy the most. Aegon?
For me, I think it was the Meet the Dominion video that kind of sold it for me. Just that whole, we're here, the galaxy is ours, and, this is ours, get out of the way. This is ours, get out of the way.
Yeah, the whole crushing of the wine glass
Yeah.
is pretty
Great.
prominent.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Here it is. Go ahead, Arawulf.
Let's not gang up on him. Let's not gang up on him. Go ahead, Mike.
You don't faze me at all, gentlemen. I don't trust you either. So I'm just going to come right out and just say the Exiles have heroes. We have heroes. We've got guys like Durek in the War on Nox that came through in an incredible way. He's the reason I'm going to roll a Granok. We've got these incredible. Look at Nixus down there.
That's why we keep him in the corner.
Aren't they called terrorists when you break the law and fight against the Empire?
Great beat on the car.
I love the story. I love the story of the Exiles. In a lot of ways, the whole point of, why are you here? What's your motivation? And it really it takes me back to the days of the faction wars that we used to see. And I bring up World of Warcraft because a lot of us played a lot of World of Warcraft, and I did. And I go back to this BlizzCon event where, the Horde always had their battle cry, for the Horde. And then, here we've got for the Empire, right? You guys have for the Empire. And then they say, and the Alliance. And the only thing that came out was, we'll keep trying. And that was the battle cry of the Alliance. And so, for me, I feel like I got to help these Exiles because we need some motivation. Because our motivation as a Granok is, where's the Granok vitamins? Where's the beer? We want to go do the stuff we want to do. We don't want to have allegiance to somebody. We want to kind of do what's fun and interesting. And I guess for me, the story of, Dorian Walker going out and finding, the planet Nexus in the middle of this, terrible situation. So the heroes and, you're fighting for a principle, not for an empire. And I guess that's what I like about the Exiles. And the Dominion are a bunch of poopy heads.
You see this as... Go ahead. Go ahead, Beetle.
Well, like I said, I was going to say, this is exactly why we had Arawulf on the show, is because if we're ever going to talk Dominion versus Exile, I want that guy on the Exile side debating, because
Absolutely.
He's not going to back down. He's ready to grab the guitar and just bard you to death, and that's what's awesome about him. Is that we got a couple more talking points for it. I know the chat I'm seeing a lot of boo from the chat, where they're not so happy about your bunny ears there, Ara. And yeah, do we want to hit our next point, Blank? You want me to just go with it?
Yeah, we're going to keep going.
All
but
right. So
one of the things I've noticed about Arawulf is that his millionaire status comes from, and this is the sociologist in me, from wanting to be that hero. And there's a lot of people that play from that perspective where they're like, that there's something about the lore that, there's being a hero or helping people, really is a huge draw. So for you, whether it's the dude that showed up and helped you with Hogger, or it's like, I want to be that dude in the future, that's definitely, and I see that's why the draw for Exiles is going to be huge for you. All right, go ahead, Beal, take it away. Next question.
All right, yeah, the Han Solo in him's coming out. Alright, so still in Dominion versus Exile, and if anybody has any Dominion Exile questions, any questions at all, be sure to just pop Q or say Nixus question and type it in chat, and we'll hit those here at the end of the show. Dominion versus Exiles, do you think there's a good or a bad side, and who they are? Orochi, I'm going to let you take it away at first on this one.
I don't think there is a good or bad side, because, you have the Dominion who are doing what the Ancients told them to do, and most of the time their intentions are pretty good. And then you got the Exiles who don't like that sort of, that their freedoms are being trodden on in a way, and they want to go and do their own thing, and they're not being allowed to. I think everyone's sort of fighting for their own little part of the universe. I don't think there's a bad side and a good side. I think it's like the side of, we want to be an entity together, and we want our own freedom. I think that's what people are fighting about in this universe. I think I just confused everybody.
No, that was good. Aegon?
I don't know.
For me, I see the Dominion as being, a force that was basically told to, you know, dominate and save the universe, and the Exiles are encroaching on their plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think as far as good and bad goes, that's like the for me that's the cool thing about this game is some people can see it as this side is doing good, this side is also doing good. It's not as like it's not a drawn line as, you know, the Horde or sorry for blanking on this, but Warhammer, I'll just say, you know, the Chaos side. There, it's like, oh, Chaos is over here, you know, the Knights are over here. It's just like it's not just a line that says good, bad. There's other things that you can take in perspective, and I don't know, I find that cool.
You think more lore chaos rather than good, bad?
Chaos was bad. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, there's a
Okay, you saying
there's
lore
a very
is-
definitive line.
The
in
lore, which
Warhammer.
is like the strict side, and then you got the chaotic side.
I
Well,
actually,
I don't remember what they were called in Warhammer. Bruh.
I actually, you know, when you go Alliance and Horde, though, when you're talking, you know, Warcraft, I kind of almost see the Horde more like the Exiles, because they're the ones that are fighting for their right to exist. They're the ones that were getting kicked off of their land. I mean, this is not a Warcraft show, so I don't want to get too much into that. But there's a lot of that. We have to prove our right to exist in the exile attitude to me. And maybe I'm the only one, but I can see that.
It wasn't as a line that I had spoken of. It wasn't as definite as
Prominent.
Warhammer. Sorry about that.
Right.
Well, that's what the biggest thing. Again, I look at it from the sociological view. They made it so. For me, the big draw is this is their birthright. This is our birthright. This is what we're supposed to do. And if you're in the way, we're going to run you the fuck over. That's just the way that it is. And these, you know, for these other guys, I can also see it from that point of view that they're, you know, presenting that, you know, oh, we were here and these guys just came and took stuff from this other planet and we're the only ones left. And it's a huge draw because people, again, they find things that they are, you know, attracted to, whether it's a hero, whether it's for me, it's the whole birthright thing. I think that's friggin' awesome. I'm like, these guys, they were told, this is your birthright. All of this land is yours. You know how many wars we've had because someone said, that's yours? Okay, let's get a bunch of people. Let's try to take it.
Manifest destiny.
That's what, exactly. So I think that everybody's going to find what is a big draw for them. And it's not so much like, it's not, you know, good or bad. These guys are the dark, they only wear dark armor or whatever. No, it's much more of a, I don't know, not a political draw, but a sociological draw based upon what your
Obama.
values are. What's wrong with you? The next question I'm gonna let I want Roshi to read it here. I know are you in the document?
Yeah, well, we had to have something
go.
in here which is yeah.
There it is. I just
Argumentative.
highlighted it for you.
Are the exiles a bunch of space hippies who don't pay taxes and will expect social handouts?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Heard it
You heard
here,
it here
you know,
first.
from the exiles themselves. They just don't want to pay taxes, but they want your money.
The last.
I'll take it.
little
Hey, I
bullet
didn't
we
pay
have.
for Nexus. I found it.
Oh.
Plant the flag.
So you found what's ours? You found what's ours. Thank you.
I
Now
actually
get
did.
out of the way.
Listen,
Get out of
the
the
Elden
way.
had a party. The Elden had a party, and I'm just picking up the recycling to see if I can get a couple bucks to buy more beer. That's all I'm trying to do.
And I'm picking up the next keg coming back, so you better get out.
All right. And the last one. Do we think that there will be faction-based armor? And the bullet point here was faction military styles armor would be kind of a cool little nuance. So, thoughts?
I got a point on that. I don't think at launch we'll see faction-based armor, but I do see it implemented in the future for the armor sets, Dominion and Exile-based armors through PvP, through war plots, whatever it be. I just don't see it right at launch.
Arawulf, Exile, Space Bunny, pink suits. What do you think about military style armor for the Exiles?
Well, I don't know what they would wear. I'm trying to think of what would work. What kind of uniform do you give a bunch of space hippies? I'd like a tank top.
Bunch of
Some
tie-dye and
cargo
toward jeans.
shorts for my granite.
Yeah,
bandana.
mesh tank
Like a
top.
tie-dye and toward jeans.
I just don't know. Okay. Here's the thing. In all seriousness, when you look at the story of the Gambler's Ruin, and I'm sure there's some type of hierarchy and organization within that, and I don't really know a lot of that yet. And Pappy hasn't given us a ton of stuff on that because I think he really wants us to learn a lot of that through playing the game. But at the same time, I just don't know how structured the Exiles are going to be to where they would wear a uniform. But I would not be surprised if there would be something that would work as an Exile uniform. I would like to see it, personally. I would like to see it. Some type of symbol, some type of something to put on my character to identify myself. I'm an Exile, especially if you're human, because think about it. Your humans and your Cassians are going to look a lot alike. So, you're going to want your Cassian to look like an Exile. And, if you're on the Empire, you want to look like you're a part of the Dominion. So yeah, I think I would like to see something like that.
Yeah.
I think it'd be quite easy to do Exile army uniforms and military uniforms. You've got like brown coats for Firefly. You've got that sort of. It doesn't have to be, Gestapo-styled uniforms or something for your heavy military. It just needs to be that sort of. They're going to form their armies. They're going to have to identify themselves, and they're going to have some symbolism for that. I think you're quite easy to do it, and you could do some really cool-looking stuff along that basis.
Yeah.
And then you went with Exiles. That's the Exiles route. With the Dominion route, you could go down the whole peak bring caps and goose steps and such on. Almost there's lots of options. You could go the Star Wars route. You had the Stormtroopers, fairly plain armor, and then you've got the Rebels with some more colorful, more interesting. So yeah, I think there's lots they could draw on it for military style uniforms, both sides.
For how they've placed the game, I could definitely see the whole Rambo cowboy army, depot kind of that being, and something cool that signifies that, whether it's like unique gloves or cool shoulders, oh, that guy does war plots, he's got, bladed shoulders, or he's got that cool belt that, looks like it's got extra pockets. Like, there definitely could be something like really, really cool. Again, hopefully we get to hear some more about the lore and where things go for that. So
I got a feeling
I believe is gonna.
I got a feeling at the beginning of the game, if they put uniforms in, there's just gonna be like wardrobe skinning, and if we do see actual armor sets, it'll be later on.
I was gonna mention tabards, but I don't like the tabard system. I think it's kind of cheesy and cheap.
Yeah.
And it just looks weird. It doesn't really go. But that when I kept thinking about distinguishing, there's always I want to wear my stuff proudly. But wouldn't it be cool if you were able to put,
a guild patch
something unique,
like a guild patch on the
side of your guild patch, or like an your Exile logo or Dominion in blood red. Just like really. There's a lot of possibilities. So we'll look forward to seeing what happens there. We are going to start rocking into some viewer questions. Please, excuse me, don't forget that there's another hour for you to donate over on the old button there. I need to cough really loud. 1 second, please.
Yeah, I can take the questions if you want, bud.
Well, hold on. There's an hour left to donate for a Soldier Path pin that's been donated to us generously from Onres over at Settler in Exile. So if you got $1, you got 50 cents, whatever it is, go hit the donate button. We'll put you in for the raffle. Again, that's from the beginning of the show to sometime, we said midnight. So get your 50 cents in, get your $1 in, trying to, get some money for the kids. And now we're going to rock into the questions here. I believe Beadle said he was going to do that. So
yeah, I kind of like taking the questions. And thanks again, guys, for all your donations. That's a really awesome help with the kids. Nixus, quit highlighting everything. My God. So, the Bearded Gamer's Insult. Insult asks, how many areas are we going to be able to exploit with this double jump and sprint jump? I could probably answer this. They're probably quadranting off. Oh, wow. Nixus just made this old man big text.
What?
They're probably quadranting off certain areas and looking for double jump glitches. I'm thinking, I mean, if you're a map monkey, as I like to call them, and you're trying to just jump out of everything, there's probably going to be a couple for sure. And
Well, I think
what
if you're,
they like
I think
to
if you're
do
an
from what I've seen,
explorer, I think if you're an explorer, it's going to be all over the place.
yeah, and from what I've seen in a lot of double jump areas that are pretty high up, is they have a lot of mountains that they like to cut people off with, and they're a good blocking volume. So I think mountains are, you're gonna find some. It's an MMO.
Yeah, I think
What do you have, Orochi? Anything on that?
For the explorer, I think it will be all over the place. It's just something great to use for explorers to get to out of the way areas.
I just want to say we've only had one donation since the show started, and that was a pretty big donation for Terminus. So unless anyone else donates, we may just put him in for the Krieg draw and then extend the pin for longer. So if you want to start donating now, just put 50 cents $1 in, then we do it at midnight. Otherwise, we'll extend it.
Yes, so anybody who donates using our widget for Child's Play can be as low as $1. Anything you can give. Just be sure to put your information in for the giveaways. We're not looking for a ton, and I'm saying more than blank is.
Drink.
Oh God, there it was again. What? All right, another one from Insult. Will height also negate the telegraph system supposed to just having to dodge left and right? Yes, I believe that was unveiled in a video that's actually just in the movement video that they talked about jumping over certain telegraphs and beam objects, projectiles, stuff like that. MN Domichi, did it show that if you get disarmed, you have to go to pick up your weapon? Yes, it
Yes,
showed in the video that we saw recently for movement. The warrior with a greatsword was disarmed, and the sword was spinning with a highlight around it that he had to go pick it back up.
Well, the sword actually flew behind the mob he was fighting.
Yep.
And now that that's been put out, I did get a chance when I was at PAX to talk to C. Lynch, which is one of the... I haven't really seen him around, but he creeps around the forums. But he talked about how being disarmed, you then have to decide, are you going to go for it? Or are you going to leave it there? In PvE, obviously, you're just going to roll over and grab it. But to me as a PvPer, that's a totally new thing. I don't have
do you
my
kite
weapon.
the person?
It's not like,
do you bring him
yeah,
around?
do you kite? Do you counter? Do you wait out however long you're disarmed? So, and you know, the system of that, do you pick it up? Does it reduce the cooldown? Does it remove the cooldown? So that is going to be really, really cool to see when this PvP stuff starts happening. You know, we start learning a little bit more about it. So that's what I got to say about that.
In all reality, some stuns and dashes may require no weapon to be equipped. So, yeah, definitely. Reaver, Brazil? Question mark? The telegraph system in jumps. I actually played that game when I was younger. I just forget how to say it. Telegraph system in jumps. How do you think they will play together? They will. I honestly think some later mobs. We saw in an earlier video like a wolf mob that actually chose random destinations to dash through, and it was about 8 or 9 telegraphs. I think they have designers and, you know, engineers working on different types of telegraphs that will include both of them. You know, laying a telegraph and then the telegraph maybe a spike that comes out and you can actually jump over it. Stuff like that I think it will play together, definitely.
There's a lot of room for them to design stuff in the system.
To me, I was just recently playing a lot of Terra, and that's a very confined system for combat. You get locked on, you know, or not. You have somebody up your butt or not. The telegraphs that we've seen, being able to jump over them, it makes it more complex, whether you're fighting in PvE or PvP. So, again, it comes down to resources. Can I jump? Are you going to be able to just double jump all the time? Can you only double jump once? You know, again, to me, that's one of those things that the more you add in, the more you're going to see skill carry people, especially in PvP. because they're going to be better at managing their resources, their cooldowns, and things like that. So it's going to be really interesting. And I think for the PvE side of stuff, you're going to see some people that are going to be screaming and yelling when they're like, oh, I had to like jump, but I had to be running and I didn't have the resource because I had just run away from something else. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Onrez, my favorite pyro that likes to get backstabbed in Team Fortress 2. Asks, we have seen the circuit board. Can the SVG team guess on any crafting professions? From what I've been contemplating, I'll just take it first because I'm asking the questions, is I think we'll see a crafting profession for each armor type. If they split the weapon types, we'll probably see one, almost like Weaponsmith and Huntsman for Guild Wars 2, splitting them up based on ranged and melee. And we'll see our buff types, a cook, and something else.
What are we doing?
We're cooking up a lot of meth in Wildstar, guys. I'm going to need you guys to come around the corner, ask Ray for it. Anybody else got anything on that?
You got it.
I got it?
That would be my guesses. Yeah.
All right. Agnios asks, what do you guys think the last two classes will be? My money is on a type of engineering class because we have not seen quite a few pictures of people using rifles. But no release class can use rifles. I'm so confused by that question. But, yeah, as far as like a pet class or engineer class, I'd love to see a ranged, tanky support something. I think the last two classes will be, personally, a melee tank healer, something like that, and a ranged something. I don't know, anybody else?
Something with the right engineer classes are redundant. Settlers. The whole settler class builds turrets, builds stuff. You already got that in game. To have an engineer class.
He's talking actual class.
Well, yeah, but so you already have that path. Then to have a class which semi-mirrors it, maybe a little bit redundant.
Well, it doesn't really mirror it because the settler can only do things in certain areas.
Well, we've seen a lot of pictures of the rifle. We've seen it ever since, some of the early gameplay videos. But I want to say I think that's a class. I just wonder if it's a path thing. I don't know what to think because paths unlock certain things that other paths can't do. Sticky grenades, and there's all kinds of stuff you're going to see in the path. So I don't really know on the ranged. I would probably guess that we're going to see a melee healer. We have seen in some of the gameplay videos some fighting with a staff-wielding melee character. It could be just an NPC. It might not be playable. We don't know. But my guess is, and I'm kind of going with Beetle here. I would like to see a melee healer and a ranged tank.
Definitely.
I would love to see that. As far as how they work, I don't know, but I think those.
Oh God, did we lose him?
Still there?
No, he's still here.
Did I lose myself?
Oh, he lost his voice.
Little Bobble, you still there, Arawulf?
No, he lost his sound, I think.
Okay.
Unplugged your mic at the end of that. You tried to drop the mic on us.
Oops.
Again, we don't know if, at the moment, we're all presuming that the warrior is just going to wield swords and melee weapons. We could go down the path later on that, they open up to ranged weapons as well, and this rifle is a warrior.
Well, they already said each class only has one weapon.
Okay.
Yeah, for animation reasons and being, better with the skills and animations and stuff like that. And I forget, and I'm sorry, I've said it in an earlier vodcast. One of the sites, one of our fan sites, had some good speculation about the last one. One of them being the melee rune master, they called it, with double axes, or like a great axe. Oh, I would love that class. That would be so awesome to me. And going back to what we think the crafting professions might be, Zap Robo makes a good point that one of the crafting professions will most likely be something that makes something for houses in cosmetic items. That's a good point, and we missed that one.
Yep.
All right. Onrez asks, question, are the SVG big mod users? If so, what mods would they like to see developed early by the community?
I'm a supporter in
Go ahead.
in quality of life mods, but not mods that replace what you have to do in game. Like I stopped playing a shaman in WoW as soon as they released Healbot because it was boring to play a healer. But stuff like, better UI mods that make things more easier for you to organize what you're doing, damage meters for those who like to mod, keep track of what they're doing. But anything that makes the game too easy to play or doesn't let you stay involved, I would never want to use.
Yeah.
I'm going to weigh
I'm
in
definitely
heavy
for-
on this.
Oh. Well, before you weigh in heavy, let me just say my two things. I'm big for, like Aegon said, UI mods that clean things up. People think, oh, I don't like how Carbine placed all of the party here. I'd rather them be here and listed this way. I'm big for UI mods, and one of my favorite mods for Warhammer was the mod that changed everything I typed in local to dwarf speak, they called it. And it was like, I'd say like, hey, is anybody looking for a group? And it'd be like, hey, ye are looking for a group, and I'd just feel like that was the best shit to me. But I'm not a huge mod user. I like to play the game as it was designed. That's just me. Blank?
Big, heavy, weighted opinions, please don't hate me. Number one, I love mods that collect information for you and kind of like Atomic's Aegon said, quality of life. So I'm a big one. I love auction house mods. You give me something that will track and I don't have to run Excel on the side, will show me what the base prices are, that are like, oh, this is what it was today, this is what it was yesterday. Anything like that, cool. Love auction house. I love like the things that clean up your bags. Any of those quality of lives. What do I hate? Carbine, I know you're listening. You've heard me say it before. I'm going to say it again for everybody. I do not want to see support for mods that make the game easier, because then the developers start programming the game around the mods. I hate boss mods. I think they're terrible. I love people who make YouTube videos, who put them up. You look at them, you learn, you try to do the same thing. When you have a mod tell you, hey, dipshit, move over, there's fire coming, or hey, in 30 seconds you have to pull your head out of your ass and get your cooldown ready, they make it easier, and I am not for that. That is not, that they just take away from it. They might as well just be like, oh, at this certain threshold, just walk in, walk around, dance around for about an hour or two, and we're just going to give you shit. I am totally against boss mods because it goes against the whole challenge of having something that's, when you're fed all the information, it's not as much fun. I'm done ranting. Arawulf, I can tell you've got something.
I just don't know how I'm supposed to watch Dancing with the Stars while raiding if I don't have something telling me when the boss is going to attack.
Yeah, it's a big deal. If they miss that drop, you're in trouble.
Does anyone else feel like that? Because I know a lot of people, and I'm sure I'm going to get private messages from people. I feel that if they wanted to put it in the game, the way Carbine's been, they've been like, listen, we're letting people make mods. If they wanted to make it easier, why not just make it easier? Hey, instead of there being a circle on the ground, let's just ring a bell and play a song that, hey, in 30 seconds you got to do something. It takes away from the mechanics in the fight for me.
Well,
right,
somebody in
Blank.
chat just said sorry about that. Just somebody in chat said exactly what I was about to say. Don't telegraphs serve as kind of boss mods by themselves?
Uh-oh. I knew they were watching. Carbine just said, we had a spirited discussion at work about Blank's rant today. Sorry. Sorry. Don't hate me, but it's how I feel.
You're right, though, Blank. I was listening to some friends playing World of Warcraft. They're going around collecting the new pets, and they had a mod which told them where the pet was going to spawn, so they could sit there and wait for it to turn up so they could do their thing to collect it. Kind of negates the object of trying to search and play Pokemon, whatever it's designed to be, in the game. You sort of...
See, that, to me, somebody took the time to put it into a mod. I consider that quality of life, because somebody went and found out where these things were and posted a guide, and then you went and did it. Yes, they made it dumbed down and easier, but somebody went and had to collect those things. It gives you the reward that you're getting is extra pets, but that's part of what you feel, that's your millionaire feeling. If you're doing something like, let's say you're doing like a war plot, and it's like, oh, hey, by the way, the enemy's coming because it's flashing here. To me, that takes away from the whole point of it. I'm fine when it's quality of life, when it's aesthetics, when it's something that you find enjoyable. Like there was the mod that showed like where you could harvest things. That's a quality of life to me. I'm okay with that because somebody made the
then
mod.
Then you're going
so
against
then
the whole explorer path of the thing, exploring the game. That's part of the game. That's a route in the game. You then once you start putting the exploring points into a mod, then you're making the game easier. It's not. It's a fine line to cross, and it's the same thing as the boss mods. You're saying it's bad, but if bosses work to a specific time of like after 10 minutes they're going to do X attack, I could start the fight and start the YouTube video watching somebody else do it a few seconds beforehand and have that information to your monitors. Where do you cut that line?
It's really no, it's different because in a raid environment or in a war plot, the information you get is not open for everybody. When you're out in the world, everybody can go collect 5,000 pets if they want to. I don't particularly give a shit. But when you make
you're part of the game?
No. When it's anything that takes a bunch of people together that not everybody can do. Anybody can go mine. Cool. Thank you. That's quality of life. Anybody can go make new things. Awesome. But when it's like, this is what took 40 people to get together to go and do, and they're giving you the information for free, they're dumbing down the content. They're making it easier. So if that's the case, then why not just make it that easier? Instead of the mod saying in 30 seconds this happens, why not make a huge big thing that says, hey, by the way, in 30 seconds this happens. Not everybody can get in and do a raid or a war plot with 40 friends and achieve the same things. Everybody can go mine or pick up pets or do whatever, aesthetically pleasing thing they want to. Can we agree on that point?
But if they know what it is, mods doing the same thing, going out and hunting down that rare special pet takes time and effort and skill. You got a mod doing it exactly the same to me as having a mod in a raid tell you what to do. You've been told where to go because that pet is going to spawn in 10 seconds. You need to be here. It's the same thing, move across the fire. Some of these way of life mods are just dumbing down different parts of the game, and someone collecting pets is a hardcore thing. Going out and finding each individual one, finding all the hard ones can take time and effort. And not everyone can do that. And when you've got a mod telling you where to go and find it, then everyone can do it. Same with the mining. A mod telling you what's the best route to go around and mining.
Timeout.
It's the same thing.
Timeout.
Beatles calling timeout. Beatles calling timeout. Give me a 30-second tea. This is a discussion for another episode. We are in the viewer questions. I love that you guys are so primed up about it and flaming mods. All right. Next question. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'm going to let you finish. Kanye West, all that stuff. Insult. I'm not even going to go into that question because it's going to bring these guys right back to it. I'm sorry, bud.
Yep. Keep going. Go here.
Will the double jump or the sprint jump negate the telegraph systems, or will you have to rely on dodge roll?
We already talked about
that already.
Yeah.
We already talked about it.
Yeah, we talked about it already, Chris. So it's fine. All right. Kororad. Question on my mind. Carbine has said that aspects of the raid encounters will change on a week-to-week basis. In other MMOs where bosses don't change, the average raiding guild can take up to a month to kill a boss for the first time. How do you think the week-to-week changes will affect the boss difficulty? I think...
Extremely. Exponentially.
Yeah.
You get used to hitting the same buttons, doing the same things, and moving the same way. You get used to that in any raid I've done. Even before the boss mods, okay, phase 2 is about to happen. It happens at this, and I gotta do this. Next week you go in, and at phase 1 happens. Instead of him stomping on the ground, he all of a sudden charges your healers or something. you're going to have to adjust. So it's going to make things super difficult.
Yeah, and honestly, we'll really see. I mean, they may say week-to-week changes are going to affect boss difficulty in raids. I know, Carbine, I love you, but week-to-week changes on your raid bosses is a pretty tall order for most of the implementation. Honestly, in order to make me happy, you don't have to do that. I'll say that right now. You don't have to change it every week. It's a lot of manpower to change the HP or give them a new skill and stuff like that. Don't put it on yourselves to say, dude,
Well,
it's Friday and we haven't thought of a new effing thing.
I think all that content's already going to be there with that boss, and they're just going to randomly choose what that boss is going to do with some automatic system they build in the background.
That could be.
They'll probably have all the attacks laid out that this boss can do. And they'll just randomly, the whatever system they use for the AI will randomly choose that the boss is going to do this stuff this week.
Yeah, I mean if you have a little bench of 6 to 10 things that the boss could do in this week, that's fine. Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. Onrez asks, how long till the 1% content should be tuned down until we see an expansion? How about that?
Next question.
Is that okay? All right, cool. Insult blank. Your haircut inspires me to get one myself. Does it give you special powers? It does. He gets Wi-Fi in most areas, including McDonald's.
For those who are going to ask, and we knew somebody was going to, the new haircut was because of a sizable donation from a local business. I just happened to know the guy. I was talking about our Child's Play event, and he said, "Oh, you're going to go get a haircut, huh?" He's like, "Well, I'm going to give you a bunch of money. Why don't you get an 80s style mohawk?" And I looked at him and I said, "Put the cash on the table, and why not?" So, just one of the many silly things that you can look forward to us trying to generate some more money for the old Elden
Child's
games.
Play.
So.
Yeah, and everybody around SVG is calling them Ragnar, in case any of you guys watch Vikings on the History Channel. Awesome show. Classics asks from Terminus. Nixus, what did you do to get put in that corner like that? Pissing Beatles Wheaties. Beetle doesn't eat Wheaties. Beatles eats them Cocoa Pebbles like a mouse. I've had Wheaties before, but only if MJ was on the cover. I went and bought like a box and was like, "Oh man, Michael Jordan, I love Michael," and I go and buy a Wheaties box. But like,
Nixus would tell you.
There's so many better.
But he's not allowed to. He sits in the corner and he talks to you guys and he smiles and he's all awesome and he takes care of all of the things in the background. When I'm like, "Hey Nixus, can you go get this link?" Boom, he's on it. So he just doesn't have time. He didn't do anything really wrong. He just hangs out there. It's his job.
I like to. He's a mime, yeah, but I like to say personally, like on the no homo, he's just much better looking than any of us, so you take away the show.
Yep.
He's kawaii, isn't he? That's the reason he's kawaii.
Oh no, he's kawaii desu. That's what it is. Kawaii, yeah.
That's what it is. Yep. Here comes the middle
with more questions. Is there a reason you only see Nixus in low res? Yes, cause swag. Fate Flyer asks, how much practicing are you planning on doing before I take you down again in Smite? Put towards Nixus. There was, for a little background, there was a Smite game between myself, Curic from Errant Unit, Fate Flyer, and a couple of blank streamers against Nixus, Blank, Aegon, Zap, and was it Gentle. And my team with Fate and those guys won the game, but Nixus had a particularly bad game, and Fate gave him the business, as we like to call it, several times. So the question is, how much practicing are you going to be doing? Nixus is constantly in-game practicing Fate. He's very upset.
He's playing now. He's meant to be doing work. I'm pretty sure he's practicing now.
He may be off-screen, but he's playing now. Classics asks, how many people in SVG plan on taking vacation or suddenly will come down with the fever during Wildstar release? that just happens. I mean, I get ran over by cars.
Well,
Dude,
thankfully my
they
job
say-
gives me a shitload of vacation, so I'll definitely be taking a huge amount of time off.
How often does the
If it's
grandma
gonna-
excuse work?
Yeah.
Yeah, my
My
grandma
grandma
died. I
died.
can't
Again.
come in. You know, it's just.
It caps out
Four
about
times
6
this year.
grandmas, I think.
Dude, if it's gonna take 150 hours to get to max level, and we did this in the last podcast,
2 weeks.
it would take a week for me at 20 hours a day. That is crazy. So yeah, I'm sure a lot of us are gonna be like, oh, no school, no work, no nothing. We're gonna eat, sleep, and power level like crazy.
Yeah, what Insult
question.
says in chat, dedicating about 72 hours to launch. That's usually good, about 72, and I think that will get us good house setups for most of the guild, you know, get that rest XP for the next time you get off work, stuff like that. I'll sleep when I'm in a casket, you know, that kind of stuff. Wildstar Monkey, what are you guys hoping for the business model? Sub, question mark? Please keep your answers
Yes.
short, guys.
Subs,
This could be
definitely.
A whole new
Yes.
show.
Yes.
I'm hoping for sub
Subs.
personally. Sub? Arawulf?
I would like to see a sub model personally. Yes.
All right, even the Exile said sub.
They're like
Alright,
freebie handouts.
Dragon GG, well played. Dear Late Night Dominion Carbine, what if I'm a fan of Batman and the Batman playstyle? Will there be an outlet for that in Wildstar?
You can just
go
get
play
drunk with us
Injustice.
and run around and yell, "I'm Batman." I mean,
Go,
there you go.
Go play Injustice. MN Dadix, one of our buddies. Question, is there a chance the unknown races could sway your decision? Negatron.
No.
Nope.
Nope.
Agnos. Question mainly for Arawulf. Here we go. What is your speculation about the last Exile race?
I actually have enjoyed the speculation on this. I've kind of slowed down on it because I got a feeling I might know. But and I'm gonna love that. If I'm completely wrong, I'm completely wrong. But I actually did an article up on it on my site. If it's all right, I'd like to link it if you guys don't mind. Back in March, I actually did kind of a clue hunting about that unannounced Exile race based on things that Carbine put out. So I'll just toss that out there. That link there is kind of my thoughts on what I suspect could possibly be that race.
Yeah, and I read that speculation. It was actually an awesome article, dude. I loved how in depth you went with like the little pointer, like, oh, I think it might be this. That was actually really awesome. Classics asks, do you think the next Dominion race is really going to be furballs? Classic, yes, I do. And a lot of people in chat will tell you right now, Chua. And if you do your Google foo, you'll see some good stuff on that, and I agree with all of them. The JB Gamer, here's a question. Do you think the
it's a
younger
good one.
gamers will end up Exiles or Dominion? It really, for me, it depends on the younger gamers' mentality, or you could almost call it maturity, how they see themselves. I know when I was younger, I always chose, I always felt myself as like, I'm a bigger dude, so I always played like a race or a class or a faction that had these bigger guys, and I would always subliminally take these things that I kind of characterize after myself. And I always felt that with gamers in the younger generation, you almost try to see yourself as the hero, and that's my little two-piece. AFK 1 sec, sorry.
Good talk, Beetle. Younger gamers, it's funny, I got to read a lot of journal entries about sociological journal entries when I was in college, because I tried to write as many papers as I could about being a nerd. There's an make sure to have a drink. It seems that normally, like with World of Warcraft, they're very polarized, so a lot of the younger, non-trolly, wanting to be helpful Arawulfs went Alliance. They wanted to be the shiny paladin. The I'm a troll, I'm a D-bag, I'm a badass, whatever you want to be, kids, ended up going for the Horde, just because those were the huge draws. Do I think that those polar opposites are enough for us to make like a huge, a solid speculation? No, not really. It's going to come down to exactly what Beetle said, where their values are at, and there's going to be one little thing they're going to be like, dude, I'm all about that. Whether it's the look, the lore, who they think is cooler, what they associate with. So. Right. And Beetle's back.
Yeah, what Blank said.
Yeah.
Not polar opposites.
I had to do a little bit of bio action. All right. Where are we at here? Somebody give me a hope. All right, got it.
Right there.
Classics asks another good one. What is the current bounty going to be for Arawulf's head at launch? I know Sarah put a 10 gold one on it. I don't know, because me and Arawulf might be sending some PMs back and forth. I might be keeping tabs on them, that kind of thing. But if we want to do like some community member bounties in like a thread on Wildstar Central, whatever the forums are going to be, it's like some bigger community members like putting bounties on their head, and if you get a screenshot of killing so and so, that'd actually be pretty awesome to me. And Arawulf, I will kill you.
I don't like this idea. We're gonna have to walk around as like a group, because people are gonna be like, "Oh, if you kill half a SVG, you make like this much amount of money." Wait until people start going to sleep. Let's get them.
I only sit in towns. I'll just let who asked that question? Classics, you and me can hang together. We'll just go kill people. Sincup, can we see Nixus as a special guest someday?
No. His head's already big enough.
Dude, we might shrink him down because of that question.
Yeah.
Get a small box.
Kawaii Desu, man. Reaver, Nixus, you ready for some Smite epicness? I'm sure Nixus would love to try. He's not very good. He's gonna hate me for saying all this. He's gonna unmute himself. Clack Harry, question: do you think we'll see visual differences in the players on different paths, i.e., scientist goggles? I don't know, actually. That'd be actually a cool thing to see gear based on, like a cosmetic gear based on the path you've chosen.
I don't think so. I was saying recently that they had too much gear and they cut it down.
Ow. Stop.
I'd like to see it, personally. Blank?
There's a really loud noise. I guess it's gone now. Nope, it's still there.
I don't hear it.
Ubu's doing it again.
Do you want to hang up real quick?
Shall we do a little hangout?
Yeah.
We can.
It's
we
our
a picture up
it's our
first and we
video
do a quick
thing,
hang up
guys.
and be right back.
Put a
yeah,
picture
it's
up.
our video thing. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Alright.
Sound check, test.
Oh, fuck. I'm not gonna get my camera back now because stupid exploit.
Test. Got me?
Test. Got you.
Okay,
Blank?
good. Next. Good.
Shit, I don't have you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you, yeah.
I can't hear you. Fuck. Try it again.
Just wait. Can you hear now? Beetle?
Can you hear anybody, Beetle?
Beetle. Beetle.
I can't hear anybody if you guys are talking. I'm dead serious.
Can you hear me?
Shit.
I hear Beetle, but
Beetle can't hear us.
Tom I don't get a video for him.
Alright, I got you guys now. Fuck it.
You got
I
it?
can
Can
hear
you
you
hear
now.
it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just switched to some gay shit.
Well, I'm not gonna get any video because exploit
Alright,
overrides
Atomic's
it.
AFK video.
Stupid exploit overrides
Alright,
it.
start up.
Whatever.
Let's go. finish
Let us
up.
know we're good.
Okay.
We're good.
All right. We are back. Can someone give me a +1 in chat to know we are back? +1?
We're back. I can see us.
I don't see +1. Oh, there. Oh man, look at all. Oh man, I'm getting so many +1s. It's like, all right. The JB Gamer. Here's the question, dude. Those of us who host Wildcard. Oh, I'm getting some feedback. I don't know where it is.
No. I'll take it, Vito. Here's a question. Do
All right.
those of us who host Wildstar Pod / Vidcast get a special lane for our housing? Question mark. I don't know what that means. I have no idea. Nope. Next question. Rourke says, will settlers be able to play structure in certain areas all over the place?
I think it'll be like sockets and plugs.
Some
Certain
I
sockets.
understood. I was saying, can't you settlers set stuff up near certain points? There may be some stuff you can place and plug, because other stuff can be placed anywhere.
Well, I doubt they're going to let people, like, put 1,000 campfires or whatever the hell they can do, all over the place. So, I don't know. Do you guys think that they're really going to let you just be able to put stuff anywhere?
I
I think
doubt
it's going to
it.
be like collision. They're saying like a collision detection, and you can put a campfire down, but you can't put another one X distance within it. From it.
Yeah, honestly, I think the major areas will handle it like sockets and plugs, but other little things they might not.
Oh, goodness. Next question. How many campfires shall we see? That's funny. And how do you think they will deal with the flooding of settler buildings and items? I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to set stuff up everywhere. That wouldn't make sense to me.
No, they have to. I agree. They cannot allow it to be exploitable. Because if it can be done, it'll be used in crazy ways to mess other gamers up.
Yeah. And, it was like, what was it, Planetside 2, Roshi? With the, what was that big boxy thing called? That gave you XP?
Oh, the Sundra.
I used to take the Sunder. I'm that guy who got the XP boost on it, and I drove in front of yours, and then I pushed it backwards. I would just sit there for like 10 minutes pushing yours away from me so I could be the first front guy on the bridge. And people would be like, what's this guy doing? He's such a jerk. Listen, dude, it's free XP, and until somebody comes around the corner and blows this thing up, I'm just going to sit right here and watch y'all respawn, So I doubt we're going to see just campfires and settlers being some sort of big exploitable thing. How many of you will spitting on fires from people named Insult? I don't know what that means. Don't spit on fires. Speaking about mods, will there be a damage meter on release? With the, they're teamed up with Curse and, all the people that are, they talked about, was it a little while ago, about people building, mods already in the closed beta. So I'm sure that there's somebody who's going to be like, hey, here's your generic, damage meter.
Yeah, they probably
Questions. Assuming stress test invites, where are we all going to meet in-game to break servers? The clown car. The answer is the clown car. And in-game, more than likely, if you can get in, it ain't going to be to do much or go far. I mean, honestly, I doubt it's going to be like, hey, get on in. You guys want to playtest some stuff? No, it's going to be more like, I logged in, and I was in for like a minute, and then everything blew up. And I continued to do this
game
over and
uninstalled.
over. And then I had to repair it over and over. Fax asked, will Carbine make their own personal UI model where you can move stuff around, aka SOTOR Neverwinter? I haven't played SOTOR Neverwinter, so someone else, I'm going to refer to one of you guys about personal UIs.
I think so, because PAX East was mentioning this stuff they wanted to do extra on top.
Yeah, he's talking about being able to. Oh man, it's getting feedback when I talk, so maybe I shouldn't talk. Oh, just talk really soft. Does it help? No, not really. Shit.
Are they just talking about having the base UI be like you can move
being
all
able
the
to move stuff
around
on screen?
Okay. Yeah, more than likely, I'm going to assume that's going to be a big yes. Again, they're really allowing people to, put forward their own mods and things like that. And I'm sure, that just comes as part of, back in the day in WoW, you couldn't move your stuff around. Then they came out with those cool mods where it's like you could move this here, move that there. You organized it how you wanted to. So I'm pretty sure with their intuition and them knowing what gamers want, that's going to be an integral part of the UI. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Current discussion. Does this say, okay, this guild killed the boss, let's change the mechanics? The boss changing week to week, do you think they will take a page from Phantasy Star Online and have rare raid bosses? Or will it simply change how the bosses act?
They could. They could definitely have rare implementations that pop up every couple weeks.
Well, I also thought about wouldn't it be kind of unique if, like, you go in and let's say you have something on farm, and not that I'm a big one for random, but let's say all of a sudden you can either turn it off, but let's say it randomly gives you that rare or hard mode where you're, hey, by the way, this week this boss is extra hard, but he drops something super cool, like, and maybe you need 40 of these to make an awesome item. I think it's a cool idea, so I figured I'd throw it out. Not sure what just happened. What are you doing, Aegon? You're breaking stuff.
What happened? Where am I?
I don't know. I think we're good.
You're good.
Stuff's moving in the background. Cut it out. Let's see. Blimey Games. I just got in, so everything covered. What do you guys think of the race class locks? Do you think it takes away from Carbine's play how you want to play mentality? Does Carbine have a play as you want to play mentality?
He's saying locking the player to one weapon instead of being like, hey, you can, as a warrior, you can go equip a short sword or not a great sword or a shield sword. It's, from what they've said initially, it's to help their balancing with their classes and to help animations to be that much more awesome. If you're looking to play how you want to play, I would suggest playing a class that you want to play. I mean, if I want to be ranged, I'm going to pick Spellslinger Esper at this point. If I want to be melee, it's going to be Stalker or Warrior. It's play how you want to play based on the type of class.
I think that's a great question because I think that anytime any game says you can't do something, there's always going to be people that want to know why. And I don't know exactly. I mean, Gaffney did use it'd be kind of weird to have a spell slinging type of spell casting Granok, or they don't really like that so much. Although they could be a scientist. So I mean, there are some certain aspects of the game that don't really match, and then others that they're saying we don't want every combination. I think I kind of attribute it to this is an old school team. These guys are old school MMOers, and that's kind of, at least in my experience, kind of an old school thing. A lot of games would say, hey, if you're going to play this class, you got to be this race. So I don't know. Maybe that's just kind of the way they like it. I mean, I don't know if they necessarily have to have a specific lore reason, although I'm sure they can come up with something. I just think it's a design choice. It's an artistic choice that they made. That's my take on it.
Go ahead, Rush.
It adds more color and flair to it, isn't it? Otherwise, people can min-max and find out you're better off playing humans for every class. Humans have access to every class, but when you've got it, so Granok's can only play this. You've got like Granoks in the field, you're going to have Makari, you can have different races represented, I think, in more even numbers because you're locked into what you're going to do.
Definitely.
I look at it as they made a lot of the other systems super, super complex. Why make this one? Pick it, stick it, good to go. All right, Beetle. Oh, wait,
right.
Your microphone stinks.
I'm fine now. Where are we at, 38?
Yes.
All right, Synthetics asks, when it comes down to rating, do you like random number generator, or do you make the encounter difficult or evolving, or do you like complicated mechanics? I'll let Blankstar run this one.
It's looking like RNG is going to make it complicated. With the telegraphs, you're going to have to, like we saw, you're going to have to jump over a beam, or you're going to have to move into that heal. You're going to... It's not just move here, do that at this time. And when things are changing all the time, week to week, month to month, whatever it may be, it's not just RNG. It's not just this happened randomly. It's this happened this way. How do we get around it? We have this week to figure it out and try to kill this guy to get to the next one, hopefully get some more gear. I don't even think there's actually a difference, whereas in some games it is. It's a huge difference where, the boss gives your tank or takes him down and then you're screwed. It's so much more than that. So I believe it's actually for Wildstar. It's both the random numbers as part of the telegraph system, the combat, that make it a complicated mechanic.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and with that, guys, we're actually going to cut the questions portion of our show tonight. I'd like to personally thank Arawulf for being on the show again tonight. Thank you for all your great input, my man.
Glad to be here. Anytime, guys.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Arawulf.
All right, definitely.
We want to
and
make sure to mention the Elden games.
Yep.
We've got Carbine members coming to play. Hopefully kick their butt in some Team Fortress. There's going to be a link there. There we have a community game night that's put on by Nixus. That's when you can actually come and listen to him talk and be all French and whatnot. We take off the tags. You take off your community. We're all just a bunch of gamers having a good time. Bring your drinks. Get silly. And we're going to get to the giveaways. Actually, what I think we should do for the giveaways is we're going to have a Roshi who's going to separate the two giveaways to see where we're at while I do the shout-outs. So let me know if we had a bunch more people donate. It looks like they did. Shout-outs, we got a big old list here. Okay. Wildstar Central, WildstarFans.net, Mission Nexus, Warplots.com, Settler in Exile, Wildscrape.com, WildstarCore.com. I want to put a shout-out to Bog Otter. Keep up the videos, and Ectic TV. We're enjoying those. We're going to make sure to get our links out to you folks. And Arosh, did you get a bunch more for the settler pin?
We did. We got quite a few more through. So I've just randomized the 9 people who donated beforehand. And Russell, I think it's from Mission Nexus, won the pre-code. So I'll get that sent to him.
All right.
Congratulations. Russell. And keep up the hard work with your site. And try not to play too much Borderlands 2.
And do we have a random list for people for the pin right now, or do you want to do that?
You see, he's going to go through to midnight PST. It's easy for him to cut off then, and then we can answer on Twitter tomorrow.
All right, guys, we will get that out to you tomorrow on Twitter because you got 7 more minutes after this is done. Again,
to PST,
big thanks to
blank.
PST.
My bad.
It's just
how the donation works on the Pacific Coast.
All right, so midnight PST for the, Soldier Path pin. If you still want to put your donations in, Aroshi will be contacting the winner tomorrow via Twitter, I believe he said.
Yeah, by Twitter. Make sure I'll announce the winner by Twitter, but make sure you can put your email address and name in the comments. We've got 1 or 2 donations where people don't say who they are. You can't put in draws if we don't know who you are to win prizes. Where unfortunately, Charles Play don't pass your information on to us. And for the Team Fortress match, we have the Carbine devs. We will be taking donations. How it's going to work, we're not too sure yet. We either have a chance to play with devs or against devs, or we'll have some mixed matches. So make sure you join us on the 18th. It's going to be a long 24 hours, but a fun 24 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, if we get Arawulf, you want to plug your podcast and site real quick if you want?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of fun doing it. Of course, my fan site, some of you have been there, wildstarfans.net, and I appreciate all your support there. And then Jay and I, again, host the Planet Nexus podcast, where we do a non-live version of kind of what you guys do here. But I'm digging this live stuff. We may have to do a live version of that show sometime, just because this is a lot of fun. I'm loving this chat interaction. You guys are awesome.
Yeah. Arawulf was a little bit nervous, and we told him that's exactly why all of us drink on this show, to help us get through that. And he didn't quite understand it, but I think he understands it now.
It's definitely interesting. So again, big thanks to Arawulf for showing up. Make sure to check out his fan site. All the shout outs that we gave to are great people out in the community. Make sure to follow the Twitch channel. Follow, everybody that's here on Twitter. Like it on Facebook. And until next week, same time, same bat channel. Thank you for showing up. Bye, folks.
Take it easy, folks.
Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back.
Bye.
Thanks again, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you all.